up your engine!
Well, if you watched my video a while back on the Honda Civic Type R, well, there's a new one coming to the United States. It's a Civic Type R limited edition. They're only going to send 600 of them to the United States. And it just broke the track record in the Suzuka. Now, this is a 3/4 mile track in Japan where Honda tests out their vehicles, and it set a new record. It did it in 2 minutes and 33.993 seconds on 3.6 miles. Now, like I say, they're only going to make 600 of these, but I've driven the regular Type R, and it is insane. This thing would be even more insane. Now, they did kind of cheat on the track, that they took out the air conditioner and they took out the infotainment system to save 100 pounds weight on the car to make it weigh as little as possible, but it was still the same car that you could buy. I mean, you could take out the infotainment system and the air conditioner if you wanted to go as fast as that. I mean, these little Type R's, they're miniature racing cars. Now, they're not for everyone. You get in one of those things, you feel the road fillings out of your teeth when you hit bumps, because it is a race setup car with really good seats set up for racing. They hold you tight. I mean, it's not something that you go out on a fancy day. You're not going to be too happy when you start hitting those bumps and start smashing it around. And this new one, the Civic Type R limited edition, hey, it's the fastest one they ever made. Now, I was impressed by the other one. I hope that one of my customers or Honda lets me drive one of these 600 so that I'll be able to make a video on that, see how much faster it is than the other one. Because, hey, if you want a little fast race car, hey, that thing is what it's made for. And now they're making them even faster. Well, if you weren't happy with the 300-something horsepower that the Toyota Supra, also known as BMW Z4, had, Toyota Supra GRMN will have the 510 horsepower BMW M3 engine. That's a twin-turbo 6-cylinder that puts out 510 horsepower. That would be insane. I've driven the regular one, and it was relatively fast. This would also be much faster. Now, realize, of course, these are limited production cars, and as it stands now, they say that 2025 is going to be the end of the production run of the Supra, and then they're not going to be making it anymore. So, you know, we're talking about small numbers of cars anyway. This isn't a mass production thing that's headed anywhere in particular. It's a sports car, and it's not going to be making millions of these things. It's a very limited production thing. I mean, and they're all made in Austria anyways by Magnus Steyr. It's not even a Toyota or a BMW. It's made in Austria by Magnus Steyr. So, you know, and there's no saying how much it's going to cost either. The one that I drove was like around a $53,000 car when all was said and done with what was added on it. And I'm sure these are going to be a lot more than that. So, you know, it's a limited production sports car. Put in the 510 horsepower engine. So they say this is all theoretical, but it's a Japanese magazine that everything they've called out so far turned out to be true, and I'm assuming this probably will be too. Well, finally, the official reveal of the new 2021 Bronco is going to come out, and it's coming out soon. It's coming out on July 13th, 2020 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's being revealed on Disney's broadcast digitally. ABC, ESPN, National Geographic, and Hulu are going to show this thing off. We're doing an all-around media blitz with this thing. If you've done a little research, you see that Ford stopped spending money on Facebook, so they're saving a bunch of money. Maybe they're taking all that money and doing a blitz with the Bronco. At 8 p.m. Eastern Time on July 13th. They're also going to be throwing it out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. They're going to do an absolute media blitz of this Bronco. ABC is going to have a 3-minute film during the Country Music's Best of Festival, the Country Music Association's 3-hour concert experience. ESPN is going to have a video during the 8 p.m. Sports Center broadcast. And they're going to restream the whole thing on Hulu the next day on July 14th. So Ford's going all out with this Bronco, you know, like I said earlier. In another video, it's going to be its own brand Bronco, just like Ram has turned it into its own brand. So they're really putting a lot of hoopla into this. Let's see if the vehicle is worth it when they actually get it out on the road and people start driving it around. Well, here's some bad news for you electric car people. California just added an electrical vehicle fee up to $175 per electric car. Of course, they're crapping because people are buying buying less gasoline, virus pandemic, so their revenue is down. So now people with electric cars are going to fork up to $175 to drive their electric car every year. At the same time, they've also another 3 point something cent per gallon gasoline tax. People are buying less gas, so they're raising the tax on the gas. And of course, they're saying this is going for supporting road systems and stuff. And I mean, man, they're always looking for a reason to tax something. It's starting to get absurd. I mean, John Lennon was kind of making a joke about taxing your feet. Maybe they will when we'll buy shoes. They'll start taxing our shoes, saying, well, somebody's got to pay for the sidewalks that we walk on. Another reason I don't live in California. It would be interesting to see if the stuff actually went in fixing the roads and the infrastructure, because ages ago here in Texas, they allowed a lottery, a state lottery, which was gambling. A lot of the people in Texas are against gambling, and they wouldn't allow it. Well, they allowed it because they said all this gambling money is going to go to education in Texas. And as far as I can discern, not a penny of that money ever went to education in Texas, but they say that it is. You know, generally this stuff goes into a general money fund. Nobody knows where the money actually goes. But if you live in California, realize you are not going to be paying an extra tax just because you own an electric car. Makes you kind of wonder. Only in California. Stephen R. says, I got a 2010 Honda Odyssey automatic. There's a clunking sound when I shift from park to drive. I've changed motor mounts, all kinds of things. It's still doing it. Hell, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but those Odyssey vans had some of the worst automatic transmissions Honda ever make. I tell people do not buy those vehicles. They just had too many problems throughout their history with horrible automatic transmissions. Odds are it's your transmission going out, but the only other thing that you can hope, because you changed the mounts and everything, is check the CV joints in the front that go to each wheel. Pray the inner CV joint or the outer CV joint on the axles are going out and the clunk comes from there. Go under there. Have it nice on 4 jack stands. See if it does it and see if it's the drive shafts clunking. That's a cheap fix. You can get, brand new aftermarket drive shafts for $89 a piece. So that is what you pray for. But from my experience, you're going to do that and you're going to hear the clunking noise is going to be coming from inside the transmission. And if that's the case, my advice would be get rid of it as soon as possible, because that means the transmission is on its way out. It's an 11-year-old Odyssey van, and it will cost you more money to rebuild that whole transmission or replace it than the vehicle is worth. Pray it's those CV joints on the axles going out. Jack it up, see if they make the clunking noise. Pray it's that, because if it isn't, it's inside the transmission. And from my experience with those things, 90-something% of the time, it's the transmission going out because they were poorly made transmissions. Harry77 says, Scotty, I'm Harry from Toronto. I'm planning to buy my first car. I'm not sure which one to get, Nissan Altima 2020 all-wheel drive or a Honda Accord Touring. We'll get the Honda Accord Touring by far. It's much better than the Nissan Altima. Nissan quality has been going ever since Renault took over, and I mean, it is just, You can't even compare that to that Honda. The Honda is such a better made vehicle than that Nissan is. You're going to pay a lot more for it, yes, but it's a much better vehicle. And do like Scotty does. Heck, buy a used one instead to save money. They still can last 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 miles. So if you can get a used one a lot cheaper, but if you don't mind the price, go ahead and buy a brand new one. It's your money, and it's going to last a long time. There's no arguing that. If you buy the Honda. Not if you buy the Nissan, though. Dan Leo 3 says, I have negative fuel trims, and my car runs extremely rich. It's pegged at subtracting 35%, minus 35 on fuel trim. I've changed all kinds of stuff, including the fuel injectors. Now, somebody says it might be the main computer. If you really have a minus 35 fuel trim, and you're not getting any codes, the computer has to be bad, or the wiring going to the computer, because anything that's more than 25% off, plus or minus, is going to trip a code. And you're minus 35%, it's not tripping any codes. Either the wiring to the computer is bad, or the computer itself has gone bad, because it has to trip codes when it goes that bad. You got serious computer problems going on there, either the wiring going to the computer or the computer itself. And more commonly, it's the computer itself gone bad. If it's got fuel trims that bad and it's running rich, you can smell fuel coming out of the exhaust pipe, and it's not tripping any codes to begin with, your computer's bad. You could have a lot of other problems too. You might have some sensors that shorted out and then they shorted the computer out. It's going to at least need a new computer, because it has to trip codes when it's that far off. And if it isn't, the computer's not working right. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.